Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal. I review nootropics, and part of learning about what nootropics work best for you is by getting a bit outside of your comfort zone, and in some cases actually trying different dosage protocols. And so what I actually did was megadosed 4 of the most popular nootropic supplements, hoping that I would get an increased benefit. And I'm going to share my experience so that you can decide whether or not it may make sense for you to try a different dosage protocol for some of these nootropic supplements, because unfortunately a lot of people use nootropics and don't see any benefit with them whatsoever. I, for one, am pretty sensitive to nootropics. I see some sort of benefit, but the question is, at one point do you start to experience side effects versus some of the benefits, and is it even worth it for you to increase your dosage? Of course, I don't recommend that anybody try this. I've been using nootropics for over 10 years. I have a pretty good idea as far as what nootropics I respond positively to versus the ones where I'm more likely to just experience side effects from. And the very first nootropic supplement is l-tyrosine, and what I did was I took a dosage between 4 to 5 grams per day. I did this for a week. Usually I'm taking only about maybe 1 to max 2 grams of l-tyrosine, and that's because of the fact that l-tyrosine helps to increase focus. It also boosts motivation. And what I had experienced from increasing my serving size of l-tyrosine was pretty much exactly what I predicted to happen. And that's that I did get the boost of focus, but it also came with increased anxiety. And for that reason, I would actually find it counterproductive. However, there may actually be some exceptions to this where it may be practical for you to megadose l-tyrosine or use a higher dose than what individuals typically would. And you'll find a lot of anecdotes about this online that people actually commonly ingest like 3 to 5 grams of l-tyrosine. And that's because of the fact that l-tyrosine significantly increases dopamine levels in the brain. So perhaps by ingesting a lot of l-tyrosine each day, you can experience some of those benefits of having higher dopamine levels. And this means more motivation, more goal-seeking behavior, more likely that you're going to go ahead and execute on those tasks because it's going to give you that feeling of satisfaction. The issue, of course, with this practice is we really don't know how safe this is on the body and on the brain for you long term. What I do like about l-tyrosine though is that it's naturally occurring. It's already found in foods. However, most people don't realize that they're already ingesting a lot of l-tyrosine through their diet. So rather than taking so much l-tyrosine during the day, if your goal is to increase your dopamine levels, you could just consider eating more protein. And as a result, your dopamine levels will rise. And if you still want to get that focus boost from l-tyrosine, then you could consider taking 500 to 750 milligrams when you'd like to, when you need that boost of focus, because that's how I typically use l-tyrosine. Let's say if I have a stressful event coming up, let's say I have an important presentation, I need to get an energy boost, I need to feel focused, then I would use l-tyrosine in those situations, or I would use it strictly pre-workout. This, of course, does come along with some of the side effects though, like with l-tyrosine, the common ones being anxiety and headaches. And you'll find that as you use more l-tyrosine, it's just far more likely that you'll experience some of these negative effects. The second nootropic supplement that I megadosed is ashwagandha. Of course, I didn't do this the same week as l-tyrosine, and ashwagandha works in a different way. It doesn't necessarily boost alertness. It actually calms you down. It actually relaxes you to some extent. It helps a lot of people as well with anxiety. I don't personally consider it a nootropic for productivity like l-tyrosine, but some people do find themselves more productive with ashwagandha use, and that's because of the fact that, of course, ashwagandha can calm you down. You may experience deeper sleep as well, and the common side effect reported with ashwagandha use is demotivation. So before trying an attack dose, I was using an ashwagandha serving size of around 500 milligrams twice a day, so taking 1 gram throughout the course of the day. And so what I did was I increased the serving size up to 2.5 to 3 grams split throughout the day, so it looked like 700 milligrams to 1 gram taken 3 times per day. And I also did this for about a week, and surprisingly, the effects really weren't that bad. If anything, I felt in a much better mood. I work a very stressful job selling residential real estate, and at the end of the work days when I megadosed ashwagandha, I can say I wasn't as stressed as I typically was. It was easier to get to bed. It was easier to wind down. Mind you, this wasn't like a major change, but it's a noticeable enough change for you to see what ashwagandha can potentially do. For me, I noticed, of course, the best benefits after using it for about a week, but I still feel something after ingesting it. Like the moment that I consume ashwagandha, I feel pretty calm. I feel pretty present as well. I wouldn't recommend anyone megadose ashwagandha because of the fact that it does increase your thyroid levels. We don't know if this is potentially healthy for you long term. Although ashwagandha has a lot of research backing its effectiveness, these studies most commonly had a serving size of ashwagandha between 500 milligrams to maybe 1 gram per day. But I can see this being an effective tool, especially if you're going through something like very stressful or very traumatic on yourself and you need something to help recover, you need something to calm you down a bit, relieve yourself of anxiety so you can work as normal, then ashwagandha could be a good tool in your toolbox to consider at a higher dosage than you typically would. Not that I recommend it. The third nootropic supplement I decided to megadose, maybe regrettably, is Tongkat Ali. And Tongkat Ali works more as a natural testosterone booster. There's pretty solid research showing it can not only increase testosterone levels, but also help to increase fat-free mass, so giving you more lean lean mass, more muscle mass, and even to potentially help you in the gym. And I don't know if I would consider this a megadose, but it's definitely more than what I typically take. Rather than using 200 milligrams per day, I actually increased my serving size up to 600 milligrams per day. And yes, I realize I could have gone up to a gram or even 2 grams, but I already feel the side effects of Tongkat Ali at 200 milligrams a day, so I was a little bit conservative about this, knowing that 600 milligrams would most likely do something pretty significant. And I'm surprised to say that there wasn't too much of a difference between 200 milligrams to 600 milligrams. However, I started to feel less of the benefits and more of the side effects when I was on the higher dosage. So for me, if I were to use 200 milligrams of Tongkat Ali, I would notice the benefits. I would be in a slightly better mood. I would have increased confidence. I would need a bit less sleep, and like kind of all those signs of higher testosterone levels, perhaps even higher libido as well, like more strength in the gym. I also just naturally feel a bit stronger. Like when I'm using Tongkat Ali, it seems like I have more bone strength, and that really motivates me to go ahead and try to hit my personal best at the gym. And so I was expecting to have like massive gains in the gym at 600 milligrams of Tongkat Ali, sky higher confidence, more aggression, more courage, and the benefits were pretty similar to 200 milligrams. I just started to feel some of those side effects, and with Tongkat Ali, you really have to be careful. And I'm not the only person that experiences this, but often when you use Tongkat Ali, especially some of the more potent forms, like I like the form from Nootropics Depot, you often feel a bit lightheaded. Maybe you'll even experience some nausea. And so what happened was at these increased dosages, even if I were to take Tongkat Ali with the meal, I was starting to experience some of the lightheadedness, which could in fact compromise productivity. So would I megadose Tongkat Ali in the future? Probably not. Perhaps if your goal is only to see gains in the gym and you don't really care about your life outside of that, then maybe it could be a good tool in your toolbox. And the fourth nootropic supplement I decided to megadose is one of my favorites for productivity, and that's Noopep. And this isn't the first time where I've megadosed Noopep, because when I first started using Noopep, there wasn't too much information about it online, and I really didn't know what a good dosage would be. So I was taking like 70 milligrams up to 100 milligrams per day, and I went back to that routine, and I saw great benefits in the past, but that was about 10 years ago, so I was excited to get back on the megadose again. So what I did was I used Noopep at a serving size of 20 milligrams 3 to 4 times a day, so that ends up being about 60 to 80 milligrams of Noopep each day. And although it's subtle, I think that if you're somewhat sensitive to nootropics, you're sensitive to your state, you would definitely find that Noopep does help to increase focus, because it's absolutely exceptional at helping you to avoid distractions, because nothing else matters except for the next task at hand. And I can see with Noopep, a lot of people like disregarding their relationships or losing interest in your hobbies. Like I'm somebody that likes following sports. I like following music and my favorite artists. And when I'm using a high servings of Noopep, I have no interest in anything except for work. So I had a pretty positive experience megadosing Noopep both now and in the past. But the major reason why I wouldn't do this in the future is because often when I get off of Noopep, I feel a little bit slower. I do feel some sort of like mental withdrawals. I don't feel as cognitively sharp as I typically am. And of course, who knows if this is a safe practice for us long term. So I'm going to continue using Noopep at a serving size of around 10 milligrams to 30 milligrams per day, and even microcycling this nootropic supplement, doing something like weekdays on, weekends off, or even using Noopep every other day may help you to have a good experience with it. Like I don't find it's one of those nootropics that you have to take every single day for you to have some sort of build up in your system for you to notice the benefits with. I hope you found this video informative, and make sure to let me know in the comment section which of these 4 nootropic supplements is your personal favorite. Of course, before using any nootropic supplement, make sure to have an honest conversation with your general practitioner. Do subscribe, drop a like if you found the video informative, and if you want to chat with me one-on-one, you can consider messaging me on Patreon, and be sure to visit our Discord server where we have a 24/7 chat room. We're having a whole lot of fun. I appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you next time.